Good morning, church!
What's up, church? Good to see you guys.
Good to see everybody out there today. My name is Taylor, and this is...
I'm Derek.
Derek, good job introducing your name this morning.
I felt like I did a good job there. That was awesome. Yay me.
It is exciting. So, this weekend started Christmas at the Warren House.
It was Christmas for real.
Oh, yeah.
Like the decorations are up.
Decorations are up.
Yep.
We went Christmas light seeking last night.
Oh, how did it go as you sought out some Christmas lights?
We sought out some Christmas lights. So it turns out there's this Google Maps thing that takes us to different places. We can look at all these awesome houses in Colorado Springs. I did not look. There is a color code.
Oh, yeah?
And in the color code, if you go to a purple, it takes you to like a business. So the first place we went to was, I think it was a National City Bank. And it was kind of boring to look at.
Oh, it was disappointing?
A little disappointing for the kids.
But did overall the evening go well?
Overall, the evening went well.
Good.
What about you?
Glad to hear it. Yeah, we got Christmas decorations up, and we are in like full Christmas movie mode. There's a new Mariah Carey special on Apple TV, so if you want some old school
She always
Mariah
comes
Carey,
through in the clutch.
She always comes through. Be sure you catch that. But hey, welcome to Church Online. We're loving this. Man, we're kind of like in semi-lockdown mode, level red, safe at home orders. So we don't get to hang out with you guys as much as we want, but this is fun. We got the chat here.
Oh yeah.
Let's live it up on the chat. I'm seeing a lot of people up there. Brittany, what's up?
What
the
up?
Enochs are on there. Eminem. I don't know if that's the candy or the rapper, but we're glad to have you.
Doesn't matter. Hey,
glad to have you on.
While we're on the chat, let's throw out a question. The question that we want to throw out is, what is your favorite thing about online church?
Oh, there are
favorite
good
thing
things
about online
Yeah,
church?
so it comes with the sacrifices, but there are good things. What is your favorite thing about online church?
My favorite thing about online church, I would say right now, is extra family time. So I'm loving online church. I'm loving taking something from whoever's preaching that weekend, being able to say, hey, I'm going to take that one thing and talk to my kids about it.
Yeah.
It's been great.
That's a good one. I like church in my jammies. You know, that's kind of a nice thing. I also like just the free-flowing coffee during church. Like worship, teaching, doesn't matter. I can just get up and go get coffee, and it's not rude because no one knows. So I'm loving it. So why don't you throw it in there? What's your favorite thing about online church? We would love for you to answer that question as well. But yeah, we got other stuff going on.
That's right. Hey,
too.
And like we said earlier, I'm Taylor. This is Derek. If you're new, please let us know. We want to hit you up. We want to just be praying for everybody at online church. If you got anything going on, you're like, hey, I need some prayer this week, please let us know. But before we go any further, I just want to throw out a fun fact about my man, Derek Purvis, right here.
You have a fun fact about me that makes me a little nervous.
So when I first got into kids ministry, it was 2007, and one of my first jobs was being an intern for Derek. And he was the kids pastor at a church, Southland in Lexington, Kentucky.
So we've known each other for a long time. Back in 2007, Taylor was only 7'2". So
that's right.
Yeah, he's grown since then.
I didn't learn very many kids ministry things, but I learned a lot about life, and it was awesome.
I love it. I'm typing in here to some guests. Good to see you all. We got Shar on there. We love ourselves some John Shar. Morrow fam. Berto, what's up? Good morning.
Allison's
good to see
in the house. All right, good. All right, so we are getting closer to Christmas.
Yes. Lots of things are happening with Christmas.
I'm excited because today in the message, Petey's going to tell us everything we need to know about the Christmas service.
So we said when we went in this lockdown mode and we're doing church online, we said we're going to do something special for Christmas. And today we're going to tell you guys exactly what that is. We're not going to tell you right now, though, right? We cannot tell you. It is a teaser for you to pay attention. But man, we're so pumped. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of service. But we're excited about Christmas for sure. And along with Christmas, we do this year in giving thing at the end of the year too. Tell them what that's about, what we're doing this year.
So year in giving, we've been talking about for the last couple weeks. It's one of the coolest ideas. It is the 2-chair idea. So you're buying a chair for you, and you're buying a chair for someone that you want to invite to church at the new Peak City Church building. And so it's going to be awesome because I love it. Helps us stay on mission, and it helps you keep focused of like, hey, I want to invite my neighbor to church. That chair is literally for them.
Yeah, so it's great. So Year in Giving, everything's going to this project that we say, hey, we want to open this new building. When this pandemic's over, we're going to open up a new building, new name, new church kind of vibe, but man, same mission, and that's all about reaching people. So if you're thinking about giving to that, our challenge right now is that everybody thinks about giving $100 per person.
Yep.
And we know for some of you all, that's like a quick write-off, hey, let's do it. So you just start with that and maybe pray about what more that could be. But some of you guys too, that's a stretch, and we get that as well. So just be praying about your gift for Year in Giving. We would love to have you as a part of that. Let's keep looking on the chat here.
Hey,
We've got a lot of people.
Real quick, before we jump into the service, don't forget, take a photo of yourself watching the service. Post it online. It's a great way to invite friends, let them know what's up on Sunday morning. Tag us in it, hashtag, do everything you can. Because we want to give away
some Dutch Bros.
A Dutch Bro.
Yeah.
It is a local Colorado coffee shop.
Not quite local, but we're giving away Dutch Bros. So be sure you tag people, let people know that we are watching online right now. And let's go ahead and jump into the service together.
What's up, everybody? So glad that you are with us today. Welcome to church. If you're here for the first time, my name is Petey. I'm the lead pastor here, and I know that there are new people who come here every single week. I mean, every week we do church online, brand new people show up. And so if you haven't already identified yourself in the chat, man, drop a little line in the chat. Let us know that you're here for the first time. Our crew would love to say hey to you and show you some love and shout you down today. But before we jump into the message today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to do this year for Christmas Eve, okay? So, you know, we're in this strange season right now. Like, when it comes to COVID-19 in our community, we're in some of the worst days that we've ever seen. Right, and so we made the decision about a month ago to go back to doing all of our services online. So right now we have no in-person gatherings until COVID-19 calms down, until the El Paso County Health Dial moves back to allow us to do some larger in-person gatherings. And so we're going back to online right now. But when we made that decision, that difficult decision, that again, just to remind you, is rooted in love. The reason we're not gathering in person is because we love our community, we love people, and we don't want to do anything that would contribute negatively to the spread of this virus or negatively to our community. But we said back in the day, back in early November, that when we made this decision, that we had still planned on doing something really special in person for our Christmas Eve services, all right? And so I want to tell you what those plans are today. Normally we would have gotten you our Christmas Eve plans before today, but this is a crazy year. We need a little bit of extra time for some planning. But I want you to know that even though the whole thing's going crazy right now, and we're not doing in-person gatherings for our weekly services, we are going to have in-person gatherings for our Christmas Eve services. But I want you to know they are going to be safe, and they are going to be special, okay? This year, we are going to have a drive-in Christmas. All right, a drive-in Christmas. It's going to be dope. It's going to be incredible. We are going to set up a stage. We're going to set up a huge screen in the parking lot of our brand new building at 1710 Dublin Boulevard. It's going to be incredible. I'm telling you, it's kind of like our first Christmas as Peak City Church. We're going to have 3 service times of 4, 5:30, and 7 o'clock for you to bring your friends, bring your family, invite your coworkers. And so again, this is a drive-in style. This is drive-in style. So we're going to have you pulled in, stay in your car if you feel safer to stay in your car. If you want to bring a lawn chair and pop it out in front of your car and enjoy service that way, you're free to do so. But man, we're gonna have live music, we're gonna have teaching. It's gonna be a ton of fun. It's gonna be a short service, all right, because I know it's gonna be chilly out there, but it's gonna be a shorter service. But I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. So mark your calendar, December 24th, 4, 5:30, and 7 o'clock. We are gonna have a special drive-in Christmas, and I cannot wait to celebrate that with you. And so, man, be praying. Be praying about who you can invite. Be praying about who you can start showing some love to around your neighborhood, and then drop them an invite to come and join you for church. I think people are going to be itching to get out and go do something, and this is a safe opportunity for people to still come and experience Christmas. All right? Now, we are in the last couple weeks of our series called Taking New Ground. And so if you're just jumping in with us, you need to know we've been in this collection of messages where we've been talking about how to take new ground. Because the truth is, for us as a church, there's a ton of new ground that God has positioned us to take. We're about to change our name from Red Rock Church to Peak City Church. We're about to move into a new building from our current location to 1710 Dublin Boulevard. We got new people coming all the time. I tell you, God has got us taking new ground. But not only as a church, really when you think about our personal lives and our professional lives, the dumpster fire year that 2020 has been has actually presented a lot of opportunities for us to grow. A lot of opportunities for us as individuals to lead through change and to seize opportunities to step into new seasons of life. And so we're learning from this Old Testament story in the book of Joshua. This young leader who was tasked with leading people to take new ground, leading the people of God into a country to call their own, the first nation, the first land that they would say is their own. And so we're seeing how he did it, and we're learning to apply a lot of those principles to our own lives. And I've loved hearing from so many of you about how this collection of messages has been impacting you and how it's been helping you take new ground. And today, I think this is going to help you. All right, because today, we're going to talk about something that no matter whether or not you believe in Jesus, like if you're watching right now and you're not sure what you believe about God and you're not sure what God thinks about you, this message is still going to be helpful to you. Because today we're going to talk about something that I believe stands in the way of progress. Today we're going to talk about something that for everyone, no matter who you are, when you start to take new ground and you start to step into new opportunities in your life, what we're going to talk about today will stand in the way. It will cause you to stall in your growth, to stall in your progress. And even sometimes I've seen what we're going to talk about today cause people to never do the things in life that they know that they were supposed to do. So let's jump in. Joshua chapter 5, we're going to start in verse 1. If you're unfamiliar with the story of Joshua, let me give you just a little quick context. You know, I just told you that Joshua was a young leader. He's trying to help the nation of Israel, help lead them into a country to call their own. And we've seen God work in some incredible ways for them so far. God's been helping them. God's been building up their courage. And right now in chapter 5, verse 1, we're right on the cusp of them taking new ground. We're right on the cusp of them overthrowing their first city and having a land and a country to call their own. And actually, they're ready. All right, like when you think about it from an outside point of view, what we're going to read in verse 1, the people of God are poised and ready, and now is the time to move. Because look at what chapter 5, verse 1 says. It says this, "Now when all the Amorite kings west of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings along the coast heard how the Lord had dried up the Jordan before the Israelites until they had crossed over, their hearts melted in fear, and they no longer had the courage to face the Israelites." Now stop there for just a second. They no longer had courage. That text tells us that nothing should be standing in Joshua's way now. Everybody's scared of him, right? Everybody's heard of what God has done, and they want nothing to do with him. Like people are ready to surrender, right? Like this is the time to take new ground. This is the time to step into what they've been preparing for all of their lives. I mean, the rest of these nations have been put on notice, right? They're scared of God. And so this is the time for Joshua and his men to move. However, what we're going to read in this next verse is God telling Joshua to do something a little different. And you know, when we read about the voice of God, sometimes it's an audible voice in the Bible where, you know, they actually heard God speak to them. But then other times it's more like what you and I experience. Like when I say I hear God speak to me, it's sometimes a nudge in my heart. It's a prompting in my mind. It's something deep down where I know I'm supposed to do something. I know deep down there's a conviction that there's something I'm supposed to do. And Joshua gets that in this very next verse. It says this. It says, "At that time, the Lord said to Joshua, 'Make flint knives and circumcise the Israelites again.' So Joshua made flint knives, and he circumcised the Israelites at Gibeath Haraloth." Now, I know this is weird. I know this is weird. Now, if you've been tracking with our church for a while, you know that we, as we read the Old Testament, we stumble upon this whole issue of circumcision quite a bit, right? Like we come across this item for discussion pretty often because, and I know this is strange for many of us, especially if you're new to the Bible, right? It's kind of an odd thing to consider, but just so you know, this was a different culture thousands of years ago, and so you got to kind of time travel back thousands of years and understand that for the people of God, circumcision was a visible and tangible symbol of their willingness to participate in the covenant with God, this agreement that they had with God. See, God promised them that if you'll follow me, if you'll believe in me, if you'll trust me, I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to give you a land to call your own. I'm going to make your descendants as many as the stars in the sky, and the whole world is going to be blessed through you. And that was a promise that God made them. But the Israelites' way of saying, we're in, we're going to follow you, we're going to trust you, was circumcision. And so Joshua's kind of in a weird spot right here, right? Because now's the time for them to go. Now's the time for them to overthrow the city of Jericho, which is where they're at right now. Now's the time for them to take new ground. But Joshua feels like God is telling him to do something different. And it's kind of a tricky spot, because wouldn't you think, like, hey, this is the people of God. Why aren't they already circumcised? Like, if this is such a big deal, why is this just popping up now on the scene? And we actually learned that in the very next verse. Look at chapter 5, verse 4. It says, now, this is why he did so. All those who came out of Egypt, all the men of military age, died in the wilderness on the way after leaving Egypt. All the people that came out had been circumcised, but all the people born in the wilderness during the journey from Egypt had not. The Israelites had moved about in the wilderness for 40 years until all the men who were of military age when they left Egypt had died, since they had not obeyed the Lord. For the Lord swore to them that they would not see the land that he had solemnly promised their ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. So he raised up their sons in their place. And these were the ones that Joshua circumcised. They were still uncircumcised because they had not been circumcised on the way. So this is the deal. Joshua and his people have been going through the wilderness for 40 years. And the previous generation had died away. And honestly, the previous generation was pretty rebellious and pretty unfaithful to God. And so they had even forgotten to circumcise their own children and continue to have that visible, tangible sign of their covenant with God. And so right now, Joshua's getting ready to step into this new ground, and he just has this sinking gut feeling that he's supposed to do something different. He has this sinking gut feeling that he's supposed to do something that is going to cost him. I mean, come on, this is not a wise move for Joshua to make at this point when you think about the opinions of other people, right? This is not a wise move for Joshua to make. I mean, most people, come on, put yourself in their shoes for a second. You've been wandering for 40 years. You've come upon this promised land, and you're hearing the reports. Everybody's scared of you, right? Like, this is the time for you to go. This is the time to get yours. This is the time to move. This is the time to shake things up. And Joshua says, no, hold up. We got circumcised all y'all. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. You know what you'd be saying. You'd be saying, why now, right? Why now? Why can't we wait just like a few more days, right? Let's not do this right before we go into battle, right? Let's not put ourselves at a disadvantage. Let's wait just like, I don't know, 3 weeks. All right, 3 weeks. Give us 3 weeks, Joshua, because in 3 weeks, we'll have the city overthrown. We'll be setting up shop, and we'll have our very own urologist, right? We'll have our very own urologist that can take care of all of this for us. It's going to be great. Just give us 3 weeks, Joshua. I mean, come on. There's no way that the people, when they heard this decision from Joshua, there's no way that this was a popular move. This move would have cost him in the eyes of others. This move would have cost him leadership capital with his men. This move would have dropped Joshua's approval rating with people. This was not a popular thing. And Joshua, come on now. For those of you that lead businesses, for those of you that lead organizations, you know you can't ignore the opinions of people. You got to pay attention. Like, you're a leader of people. Right? And if you do things that cause people to not follow you, well, you're not a leader anymore, right? Like, there's that old John Maxwell line that I love, you know, leaders lead people. And if people aren't following you, you're not a leader. You're just out taking a walk, right? Joshua's got to pay attention to this stuff. But here's the deal. Joshua knew deep down that he had a choice to make. Joshua knew that in this moment, as he was taking new ground, he had to choose whether or not he was going to fear losing man's approval or fear losing God's approval, right? Joshua had to decide in this moment, what is more important to him, the approval of man or the approval of God? And so he makes this daring move. right? To say, hey, we're going to pause our progress for a second because I feel like God's asking me to do something. And even though it's not popular with people, we're going to do it. And in doing so, he maintains the approval of God. We see in verse 9 of chapter 5, it says, today I've rolled away the shame of your slavery in Egypt. God says, hey, that all the things that your ancestors did that drove me nuts, all the things that the previous generation did that brought shame upon you, your willingness to follow me in this moment has caused me to roll back your shame. See, God's approval of Joshua went through the roof. Though people, and though the opinions of people were plummeting in their approval of Joshua, in God's eyes, Joshua was as good of a leader as he had ever been in that moment. All because he feared God more than he feared man. See, here's the deal. When you take new ground, as you begin to take new ground requires fear. New ground requires fear. It's going to require you to decide who you're going to be more afraid of. Okay? Now, I know many of you are saying, you're like, wait a minute, Pete, I thought we said that fear was a bad thing, right? I thought we said that fear was like, something that we should cast away, right? And true. But you need to understand that fear, especially when the Bible talks about fear, there's kind of multiple versions of fear. See, there's fear like, hey, John the Apostle says, perfect love casts out fear, right? Fear is used in the negative sense there. But there's another kind of fear, right? Because there's a phrase you see in the Bible all the time. It's called the fear of the Lord. In fact, one of my favorite proverbs says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, the beginning of understanding. That if you'll fear God, it'll actually lead to a much more wise way of living. You see, there's multiple versions of fear. And come on, you know what we're talking about here. See, there's a kind of fear that you and I have within us of certain people that's more of a healthy fear, right? A healthy respect, a healthy reverence of someone. Right? I think about my wife's grandpa, all right? His name's Poppy. Everybody calls him Poppy. Poppy's 96 years old now, and but Poppy is one of those guys that you just have a healthy fear of, right? I remember when I first met him, he was in his 80s, and for a man in his 80s, you couldn't tell. He was body surfing in the ocean. He was playing tennis every day. I mean, he was a beast. But Poppy had that old man strength. All right, you know what I'm talking about. Like this is the kind of guy who probably wouldn't hurt a fly, but you don't cross him. All right, you don't cross him. You don't mess with his daughters. You don't mess with his granddaughters. Like because Poppy's the kind of guy. Poppy was a medic in World War II. Poppy has incredible stories. Poppy's been on this earth 3 times as long as I have. Right? I mean, there's certain things about the way he carried himself that just give you a healthy reverence, a healthy respect, a healthy fear of a guy like Poppy. Even though he was the most loving, kind, sweet man I've ever met in my life, he's kind of got those OG vibes, right? Like he's been here for a long time, and he knows a lot more than me, and he can probably lift a car if he needed to, right? He's got that old man strength. He's got them OG vibes, and so there's a reverence, there's a respect, there's a fear. And that's what we're talking about here. Like if you're going to take new ground, you have to know and you have to decide what to have a reverence for, what to have a respect for. You have to decide what to fear because new ground is going to require you to put your fear in the right place. See, Jesus actually talked about fear. But the way Jesus talked about fear was as if you and I have a choice as to what we fear. See, Jesus spoke about fear as if it's something that we're all going to deal with. There's no way you're going to escape it, that on this side of eternity, in this broken world, we're always going to deal with fear. But we get to choose where we direct that fear. Look with me at what Jesus says in Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12, verse 4. Jesus says this. He says, "Dear friends, don't be afraid of those who want to kill your body. They cannot do any more to you after that. But I'll tell you who to fear. Fear God, who has the power to kill you and then throw you into hell. Yes, he's the one to fear." See, Jesus says you're going to fear someone. You're going to fear somebody But you get to choose who to fear. You get to choose who to have that kind of respect and reverence for. And Jesus says you should not live with the fear of man. You should live with the fear of God. You shouldn't live in fear of the opinions of others or the disapproval of others. You should fear losing the approval of God. And I'm telling you, when it comes to taking new ground, when it comes to making a change in your life, to stepping into a new opportunity, when it comes to you growing as an individual, when it comes to you leading an organization, leading a business, when you start taking new ground, you are going to be put to the test every single time in this regard. You are going to be put to the test every single time, because I hate to break it to you, all right? I know this is going to break the heart of some people pleasers in the room. I hate to tell you this, but everyone is not going to like the new ground that you take. Everyone is not going to approve of the changes that you're making, no matter how good you think they are. Not everyone's going to approve of the lifestyle choices that you're adjusting because you feel like it's going to lead to a better, healthier, more mature you. Not everyone's going to look at your choices, your decisions, and this new ground you're taking and give you a thumbs up. In fact, they're going to have some opinions about it. They're going to have some opinions about your decisions, about your choices. Anytime you change anything about yourself, anytime you step into something new, anytime you step into a new opportunity, you're going to hear the opinions of people. And I'm telling you right now, not everyone is going to approve of what you do. I remember when Brittany and I, made the decision to come out here to Colorado. And we were processing through this decision to move our family out here and come and be a part of this church and serve here. And it was a really tough decision for us, right? Because it's a big move. You know, we were South Midwest people moving all the way across the country, away from friends, away from family, all that stuff. But we'd been praying through it, right? And we knew. Here's the thing, like very similar to Joshua. In my time with the Lord and in my wife's time with the Lord, we had that prompting deep in our hearts and that prompting in our minds that was the voice of God saying, this is what I've got for you. This is the opportunity. You got to go. You got to say yes. And so when I started sharing this with my friends and started sharing this with my family, good people, right? Good people who love us, we got opinions. We got some people that were like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because that's awful far away. Are you sure? Because that's a young church. Are you sure this is the right time? I mean, this is the first and only church you've even interviewed with. Are you sure? I mean, we got some opinions. We got some feedback from some people. We got some people that said, you know what? I honestly think you'd be better if you stayed over here on this side of the country. I think you'd do better in this context. You got some people that said things like, hey man, I think you'd be better if you were a church planter. Go start something brand new. Don't go be a part of something that's already started. We got some opinions from people that we love, from people that we trust, from people that love and trust us. But here's the thing, they didn't see what we saw. They didn't meet the people that we met. They didn't come and visit the city. They didn't come pray over the city. And most importantly, they didn't have those deep, profound, personal moments with God where I knew deep down that this is where we were supposed to be. And I knew deep down that God was saying, go. My wife knew deep down that God was saying, this is what I have for you. And for us, if we had said no to this opportunity, we would have gained the approval of some people. We'd have gained the approval of some people that we love, right? Our approval rating would have gone up in the eyes of man. But we knew deep down that if we said no to this opportunity, that we would have lost the approval of God in that moment. That we would have been disobedient to God. I'm telling you, there will come a time in your life when you have to choose who you're going to please. You have to choose who you're going to fear and respect and revere. You're going to have to choose. Are you going to live for the approval of man? Or are you going to live for the approval of God? When you step into that new opportunity, when you know the thing you're supposed to do and you start doing it, you're going to get feedback and you've got to decide. Do you live in the fear of man or do you live in the fear of God? And I'm just telling you, I've been in ministry for 15 years. I've counseled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And I see this so often. I see this issue preventing people from growing. I see the opinions of man, the fear of man, preventing people from stepping into the future that God has created for them. I'm telling you, I have seen adults. I'm not talking about like just middle school, high school drama. We know that in middle school and high school, if you're a student watching this, you know all about the popularity contest. You know all about the opinions of others. This is an easy message for you to apply to your life. I'm talking about adults for a second. I know adults. I know grown men and grown women who have known the right thing to do in their hearts, but have failed to step into it, have failed to do it because they're afraid of what people will think of them. They know what God wants of them, but they never say yes to it because they're afraid. They're afraid of getting negative feedback. They're afraid of people saying things about them. They're afraid of losing the approval of man. I'm telling you, I've known people who have stayed in alcoholism because they've been afraid of the pressure of saying no to a drink in a social setting. They've been afraid of hearing what their buddies will think about them if they say no to a drink, even though they know deep down that they're addicted. I'm telling you, I've seen people live in fear of what their parents would say about them, even if their parents are dead and gone. I've seen people that are just thinking in the back of their minds, my dad or my mom would not approve of this, and there's no way I can make this change, even if I know it's what's best for me. My dad would not have wanted that. I'm telling you, I have seen people live in the fear, and it has caused them to not step into the future that God has for them. I'm telling you, you got to decide. You got to decide who you're going to disappoint. I mean, that's really the question that you've got to ask. The question you got to walk away from this and start applying to your life is, who will I choose to disappoint? Who will I choose to disappoint? Am I going to choose to disappoint my friends, or am I going to choose to disappoint God? Am I going to choose to disappoint my parents, or am I going to choose to disappoint God? Am I going to choose to disappoint my boss, my coworkers, or am I going to choose to disappoint my family? My wife, my kids. Who am I going to choose to disappoint? Because I know right now, some of the people pleasers in the room are going, I don't want to disappoint anyone. I know. I'm just telling you, if you're going to take new ground, if you're going to step into all that God has for you in the future, if you're going to take a hold of this life that He's created you to live, you're going to have to choose. Are you going to live in the fear of God or in the fear of man? Who are you going to choose to disappoint? Because you will not be able to please everyone. You will not be able to please everyone. You're going to have to choose who to disappoint. Now, within that, I think there's a bigger question that we should step back and ask ourselves, though. Right? Like, you want to talk about, like, right now, like in the moment, how do you take new ground? I'm telling you, if you know deep down something you're supposed to do, you should do it. You should do it and forget about the opinions of others, all right? I'm saying other people will learn to deal with it, all right? The thing I've learned is that when people don't like what you're about to do, when they have opinions about it, that, once you get past the initial negative reaction, people adjust and they're fine, okay? Like, if you know the right thing to do, you should do it. You shouldn't live for the approval of man. You should live for the approval of God. You should fear God, all right? That's how you take new ground. But I think this leads us to a bigger existential question that we should all back up and ask ourselves for a second. And that question is, why the heck do we even care? Why do we care what people think? You ever step back and thought about that? I mean, come on. Why is it that we are so hell-bent on living for the approval of other people? Why do we care so much about what other people think? Why do we care so much about how many likes we get on social media? Why in the heck do we care about whether or not someone approves of the way we look or the way we dress? Why do we care whether or not people agree with the way we parent or the way that why do we care so much? Why do we live so much for the approval of people? I think we need to step back and ask ourselves that question, because I think it's a deeper underlying condition of the heart. My boys right now, are really big into the movie The Sandlot, which is like a proud dad moment, right? Because I grew up watching The Sandlot. Sandlot's one of my favorite movies. I feel like it's one of the best coming of age, kind of growing up movies. And so my boys have just been watching it for the first time. I'm pretty sure it taught them a few bad words, but hey, you take your wins with your losses, you move on, right? But The Sandlot's such a great movie. If you've never seen it, it's a story about this boy that moves to a new town. His name is Smalls. And Smalls is just trying to find some friends, right? He's trying to fit in. And so he finds this group of kids that all play baseball together, and he starts to try to fit in with them. But the problem is he doesn't play baseball. He's never played catch. He doesn't know anything about baseball, but he's trying so desperately to fit in, right? He acts like he knows what's going on at all times. He acts like he knows who the great Bambino is, Babe Ruth. You know, he's like, oh yeah, Babe Ruth. I thought you said the great Bambi. You know, like he's trying so hard to fit in with these guys, and eventually he does, right? Like eventually these guys become his friends. Eventually he learns baseball, the whole deal. It's a great movie. But as I watched it with my boys this last time, it's the first time I probably watched it over a decade. As I watched it with them, I sat back for a moment and I realized I'm not entirely sure that we ever outgrow those days. Right? There's a lot about that movie that seems like it's childish, seems like it's about little kids. But I'm not entirely sure that we ever outgrow the deep desire, the deep need to be accepted, to be included, to be approved of. I mean, I sat there and watched Smalls trying to fit in with these boys, and I saw myself in him a little bit. I saw some of you in him a little bit. I saw the deep condition of the human heart. It doesn't matter if you're a little boy out on the baseball field trying to fit in, or if you're a high-level CEO running a company, or if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're starting up a small business, or if you're working in a cubicle with a bunch of other people. I'm telling you, it don't really matter who you are. All of us have this deep heart issue where we need to be accepted. We need to be included. We need to be approved of. And that's what drives us, right? That's what drives us. That's why today's message is even necessary. Because our need to be accepted and included and approved of is so deep that we will even say no to the things we know we're supposed to do in life if it means we can remain accepted, included, and approved of. We will violate our own ethics, our own morals. We will violate who we are if it means we can be accepted, included, and approved of. And that's why I'm telling you, you should become a follower of Jesus. That's why you need Jesus. That's why I need Jesus. Because I'm telling you, in Jesus Christ, you are fully loved. You are fully known. You are fully accepted. You are fully included. You are fully approved of. See, when you start following Jesus and you realize what he did for you on the cross, when he stretched his arms out, and he died so that you could be forgiven and free. What we call the gospel, the good news of Jesus. Because of Jesus, the ultimate human condition, the ultimate human desire to be approved and included and accepted is met. It's met in Jesus. And so I'm telling you, this is it. If you will start following Jesus, if you will accept his forgiveness and his grace and his love, and in doing so, you have this deep heart issue met, this deep thing inside of you that needs to be accepted. When that's met, oh man, I'm telling you, it frees you up to live the life you were created to live. If you want to take new ground, if you want to maximize your potential as a person, you should start following Jesus, because I'm telling you, once you start following Jesus, you are free. You're free from the fear of man. You're free from living for the approval of others. You're free forever. You're free to step into doing exactly what you know you should do, because guess what? If nobody likes it, who cares? If nobody approves of it, who cares? You're doing what God asked you to do, and you've got the ultimate approval of God. You've got the ultimate approval of Jesus. You are accepted forever. You can stop worrying about what other people think. And I'm telling you, all you got to do is say yes to it. You know, we say that all the time around here, that following Jesus is as simple as saying yes. Saying yes to his love, yes to his grace. You don't have to know the Bible back and forth. You don't have to have the Bible memorized. You don't have to have your life cleaned up yet. You have to recognize that Jesus is God in the flesh and be ready to just say yes to him I'm going to follow him. I'm going to accept this love, this inclusion into the family of God. And I'm telling you, that offer is yours today. You could put it in the chat right now. You can go to our website and go to the next steps page. We got plenty of people that would love to follow up with you. If you want to become a follower of Jesus, if you want to get baptized, right? Like baptism is our way to tell the world that I've become a follower of Jesus. I don't care if it's wintertime. We can do some baptisms, all right? I heard somebody say the other day that they've got a friend that wants to get baptized in a river. And I'm like, it's butt cold outside. But if you want to get baptized in a river, man, let's do it. I don't care. Like the movement of Jesus ain't going to stop because of COVID. So I'm telling you, if you want to take new ground and you want to stop living for the approval of man, you should start following Jesus. And so I want to pray that for you, and I want to pray that for our church, because here's the deal. Many of us right now are following Jesus, but we don't fully live as if we're approved by God. We still live for the approval of man. We still live in fear of man. And so I want to pray for us as we step into this holiday season. I think God's going to give us a bunch of opportunities to spread his hope and his love, but it's going to require us to do some things that maybe other people don't approve of. It's going to require us to put our reputation on the line a little bit as we invite people to church, as we bring people into the family. And I want to pray for us to be a church that doesn't live in fear. Not in the fear of man, but a church that lives in the fear of God, seeking his approval above all else. So, man, let me pray that for us right now. Jesus, we love you, and we are so grateful. We are so grateful for the life that you've given us. And God, I'm grateful right now for the future that you've given us. God, I know there's so many people listening to this right now that you have got exciting futures in front of them. I think about our whole church. What an exciting year we have in front of us. But God, I know that there are some fears out there of what people are going to think. I know some people out there right now who are needing to make decisions to change their lifestyle. And they're afraid of what others are going to think. God, I pray right now that you would give us a greater fear of you than we have of anyone else's opinions. God, we know that you use other people's opinions to speak truth to us at times. And there are times that other people's opinions actually line up with what you're saying to us. And those are the easy moments, God. But God, I pray for the moments when we know from you what we're supposed to do, but we know that it's not going to be met with positivity from others. I pray that you give us the courage that we need to live for your approval. God, I pray that you would approve of us. I pray that our actions and our words, that you would look down like you did at Joshua and say, that's my boy, that's my girl, that's my leader right there. God, we want to live for your approval. God, I pray for anybody listening to this right now that is new, that's considering faith for the first time. I pray that if you're speaking to their heart right now, that they would listen, that they would respond. And God, I pray that you would help them to see that the deepest longings of their soul, the deepest needs of our hearts are all met and found in you, Jesus. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Petey Kinder.
He brings it every time, folks.
So, he's been out for about 2 weeks, and I'm thinking, when he comes back, will he have lost a step?
Will he be rusty? But no.
He came back with a vengeance. Thank you very much, Petey, for that word. That was incredible.
It was awesome. Taylor, what'd you think? What'd you get? What are your personal thoughts?
Man, there was a lot. There was a lot in there. The one thing that I'm going to take away and apply this week and really think about is he asked the question, I wrote it down here, it is, why is it that we live with the fear of man so often?
Yeah.
Because, and he hit it right on the head. Why the heck do we care?
Yeah.
Like what man thinks. We should only be living for Jesus. And so I love that verse he used, Luke 12:4-5. The only one to fear is God. He's the one that saved us. So that's the verse I'm gonna be hitting on this week.
I love it.
So what about you?
For me, honestly, it was that same verse thinking about, PD was making that point. Like, we do fear something. Like, fear is going to be a natural part of life. And I was thinking, how much effort do I spend trying to be comfortable? You know what I mean? Like, how much of my life is just avoiding conflict with man, avoiding conflict in I just seek comfort. So just to go, you know what? I need to be in scenarios where I am afraid.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's not fear of man, that's fear of God stuff. Okay, God, I need you to step up. So if I'm not, and I think that's a great thought as we come toward the end of these messages too, of, are you living so comfortably that you're never taking new ground? around.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
Like, you're never doing anything risky.
Yeah.
And I would hope that's not the case.
Right.
And honestly, right now with COVID, like we're constantly living in things that we can't control. You know, so
Yeah.
but God's right there with us, man. What a great message.
Oh, for sure. And if you're out there watching and you're like, man, that message made me feel some type of way, and man, I want to reach out and talk to somebody. I have more questions. I have given my life to Jesus. I want to get baptized. I want to know more. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Yep. And
we
I
want to
do-
hear from you.
I do want to say too, just because the message has been like the last 30 minutes or so. If you just joined us late, and this is your first time, we would love to get to know you a little bit. If you jumped in to the service and we didn't get to give you that shout out, we want you to know that anytime somebody visits our church, we want them to feel like family day one. And we've got a link in there if you want to scroll through the chat. Let us know. We've got a gift for you if it's your first time. We would love to connect with you and get to know you a little bit there as well. But we also heard some other good stuff. Christmas.
Oh yeah,
How about that?
Christmas service. Gonna be able to see each other.
I know.
From a distance, of course, but it is exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So here's the deal: drive-in services. It's going to be a great thing to invite somebody to. If you are like my family, I think you've said similar with yours. You're looking for stuff to do right now. So, and invite people to our Christmas services. Christmas Eve, we would love to have a lot of folks there. Not just our church family, but anybody else who wants to come. We'd love to get to meet them. And we're saying hello, but we have a gift for you on Christmas. We got Christmas presents for everybody. Right?
It is a good one.
It's going to be awesome. So you're going to want to be there for Christmas.
And
as well.
if you're a family coming, we have a gift specifically for you and your family. It's going to be great.
That's right. And a couple other reminders. We've got that big thing we're doing, raising money for this new building. We're doing our year-end campaign, 2 chairs. We talked about that earlier. If you have like questions about that, let us know. Give us a shout out. But also, if you want to give just to Red Rock, just in general, man, that's something that honors God. That's another form of worship to give to Him. So we've got that up there too. If you want to click there and let us know if that's a way that you want to worship. But also, we have a giveaway.
For sure, we've got a giveaway. But before we give something away, I want to leave you guys in suspense real quick for a second, because we got a Christmas light event coming up 1 week from today. 6 o'clock. Got to meet here at the church. It is for families. If you got kids of all ages, birth up through high school, we want you to be here. 6 to 7:30. We're starting at the church. We're going to be passing out maps to go see Christmas lights. We're going to be passing out hot chocolate. So you're going to go through a route, see some lights, end up at the new Peak City Church building. We're going to be Instagram live and the whole thing. And then we're going to be praying like that God would make Peak City Church the light of Colorado Springs. It's going to be awesome.
Another cool thing, I mean, like, we're looking for things to do. So we're going to be together, even though we're going to be in our cars. We're going to be together, basically touring Colorado Springs, looking at lights. It's going to be a whole good time. And we do have a giveaway. You didn't want me to do the giveaway. You wanted to talk about your Christmas lights first.
No, because I knew people want to know who gets that sweet Dutch Bros card.
That's exactly what it is. You want that to be our very last thing.
I'm giving the drum roll.
This week, Monica. At a little bit of Monica. I want you guys to click on our feed. We reposted. Monica didn't even get out of bed for church today, and I love that.
Monica,
way to go,
she's
Monica.
just being raw and real.
Just laying there all bundled up. That's a fantastic
Monica.
option for church online. But man, we love that you guys are out there watching online. We see you guys in the chat. Like seeing that every week. Tonight you'll be back at 5 o'clock, right?
Yep, back at 5 o'clock with students. So
that's right.
We've got a couple changes coming up, so you don't want to miss out on what's happening tonight for students.
That's right. And don't forget, we got Thursday Night Live on our social media platforms on here. Be here Thursday night, 7 p.m. We love you guys, and we'll see you Thursday.
Love you, miss you.